Eirik's rhythm, the deep serenity of a pre-war day. Tonight, I'm taking you back 1,000 years, to the lands shaped by the northern winds, to a season when the snows begin to melt, when the rivers break free from the ice and flow once more. Spring. The time when the northern warriors, the Vikings, quietly prepare for their great voyages. And in this story, today, you will accompany a Viking warrior, Eirik, through his day. A calm, heavy, rhythmic day. The shadow of war is there, but there is no tension. Only life, only the sound of nature, and time slowly moving forward.
Part 1. Awakening and the Heart of the Longhouse. As the first light of morning streams in, from the small window and the smoke hole in the roof of the longhouse, the light beams make the dust particles dance in the air. Eirik slowly opens his eyes in his thick bed made of animal furs. The bed was built against the wall, and the thick furs had successfully kept out the cold all night. As his wool blanket slides down his shoulders, he feels a slight chill embrace his body. This coolness is not a shock, but an embrace, the soft boundary between sleep and wakefulness.
This coolness comes from the central hearth fire in the longhouse having died down during the night. The final burning energy of the logs is spent. The fire has left behind only a soft glow in the deepest shades of orange. This glow slightly flickers on the walls made of earth and wood. The shadows are like dancing ghosts on the ceiling beams. The smell of smoke, ashes, and burned coal hangs heavy but familiar within the longhouse, fixed like an ancient memory. The scent blends deeply with the smell of cured meat and damp earth. Eirik inhales this scent. This is the smell of home. Eirik slowly sits up. The faint rustle of the straw beneath his fur bedding breaks the room's silence. He pauses for a moment, just listening. Before this morning, there was nothing. This moment of awakening is a beginning.
From outside come the sounds of birds, not yet fully awake, echoing among the mountains. And most importantly, the rhythmic sound coming from the roof. Drip, drip, drip. The snowflakes remaining from the night are melting. Water is dripping from the grooves of the cedar wood roof. This sound is the harbinger of one of the first true mornings of spring. The rigid, suffocating silence of winter is replaced by the constant flowing sound of water. Each drop gently marks the passage of time. Eirik takes a deep breath. The air filling his lungs is cold but refreshing. It blends the cleanliness of the outside with the old smoke smell of the inside. There is much to do today.
Both daily chores and preparations for the approaching voyage. But there is no hurry. The time of the Vikings did not rush. Everything moved according to the rhythm of nature. Eirik slowly gets to his feet. His feet touch the packed dirt floor. A feeling of light dampness and coolness is comforting after the warmth of the furs. He straightens his bedding, covered in animal hides. He feels the weight of the folded fur in his hands. He feels the coldness of the upright wooden posts he leaned against with his fingertips.
He puts on his thick wool tunics, slowly tying his leather belt. The low clink of the metal buckle as it fastens is the only mechanical sound heard. Every movement is heavy, deliberate, and stripped of unnecessary energy. He walks towards the hearth, not to warm himself, but just to place dried herbs he holds onto the remaining embers. Soon, thin, white smoke rises. The embers seem to be revived by Eirik's breath.
Then he pushes the thick oak door of the longhouse. The door opens with a heavy, deep creak, the sound of wood compressed by winter, and Eirik steps out into the world shrouded in mist.
Part 2. The Village's Serenity and First Sounds. The village is as if washed in the white haze of the morning mist. Vapors rising from the fjord make the small turf-roofed houses partially visible. Innumerable water droplets have collected on the wooden fences. Each one reflects the light like a tiny crystal. Eirik touches the fence. Coldness and wetness spread through his palms.
The wind is light, almost like a whisper. It carries the sharp scent of melting snow, damp earth, and the sea. Eirik takes another deep breath. The clean air of the north. As it fills his lungs, his body adjusts to the outside environment. His inner calm merges with the outer calm. As he slowly walks through the center of the village, other people have also begun to wake up one by one. Wooden doors open one after another, and footsteps blend together. Feet step lightly on the ground, as if everyone is trying to avoid making noise. Eirik hears the soft squelch of melting snow under his feet. This sound will soon be replaced by the sound of mud.
A woman sits in front of the longhouse, trying to light a fire with a small piece of flint. Click, click, click. The sound of the flint striking the metal is the sharpest sound blending into the misty morning. Smoke slowly rises around the woman, dispersing in the air. A child checks on his goats. The child's wool vest is heavy with the moisture of the mist. The thin ringing sounds of the goats' bells come from far away. And a man is filing the blade of his sword with a stone. The click, click, click sound of the file spreads through the misty morning with a slow, regular, and hypnotic rhythm. This sound is not the sound of tension, but the sound of preparation. It is the sound of striving for perfection. Eirik listens to this sound. This is a rhythm that clears the mind.
Part 3. The Fjord and the Security of the Dragon Ships. Eirik continues his walk toward the harbor. Spring means it is time for the ships to be launched back into the water. Whether for war or trade, voyages generally began when the weather warmed. When he reaches the harbor, the smell of wood resin and the sharp scent of the sea are mixed. The smell of warm pitch rising from the newly patched holes overpowers the iodine scent of the seawater.
The longships, having undergone repairs during the winter, are pulled up onto the land. The dragon's head, drakkar carving at the bow of the ship, glints in the morning light. Its eyes carry a stern and lifeless, yet ready for the sea expression. The old faded runes on the dragon's neck whisper the wisdom of the past. A group of young men is lining up their shields next to the ship. They are waiting for the paint and symbols on the shields to dry. The personal mark on each shield is an identity. Eirik thinks of the wolf figure on his own shield. Even the arrangement of the metal studs on the shield's edge carries order and rhythm.
Leather straps are being checked, and swords are being wiped with oiled cloth. But even all these preparations are not being done in a hurry. Nothing is fast. Every movement is heavy, calm, and rhythmic, like a breath preparing to enter sleep. Eirik greets the workers at the harbor with a nod. Then he sits down next to the great oak tree right at the edge of the harbor. This tree is sacred to the village. As the wind gently sways its branches, the leaves rustle in a soft tone.
Eirik closes his eyes. For a moment, he just listens. The wind, the water, the birds, the sound of water dripping onto the stones, and the dull thud of the blacksmith's hammer coming from far away. These sounds are an ordinary yet peaceful melody for everyone living in the Viking village. The gentle lapping of the seawater against the wood and its retreat is one of the oldest lullabies. Eirik inhales the salty scent of the ropes. This scent signals that the time for the voyage is near.
Part 4. The Rhythm of the Forest and Rhythmic Labor. After a while, Eirik gets up. Today he will go to the forest for wood. Before a war, shields must absolutely be renewed, spear shafts refreshed, and sword grips strengthened. Good sturdy wood is needed for most of these tasks. Eirik takes his axe. The oak handle of the axe is slightly damp from the cold. The spot where his hand grips it has become smooth with years of work.
He starts walking toward the path leading into the forest. The entrance to the forest appears through the mist. The trees are tall, their trunks thick. The first green tones of spring are mixed with the scent of the earth. Eirik hears the snapping of thin branches underfoot with every step. This snapping sound is the awakening of nature. He feels the softness of the moss and damp leaves under his feet. He finds his balance while walking over the roots. A stream flows in the distance. Its sound is clear, soft, and regular. The stream has flowed over the same stones for thousands of years. This constancy gives Eirik peace.
Eirik chooses a suitable tree. He places his hand on the bark. The surface is rough and cold. He closes his eyes. The sound of the wind at the top of the tree is like the tree's soul whispering. He raises the axe, but his strikes are not hard. They are rhythmic, slow, and controlled. With every swing, the wood makes a dull thud, thud, thud sound. This was a rhythm that cleansed the warriors' minds.
The echo of the axe's strike softens and dies away before disappearing in the forest. This rhythm slows down his thoughts, emptying his mind. Eirik focuses only on the weight of the axe and his own breathing. The smell of resin and fresh wood from the newly cut tree mixes with the air. This smell is the scent of labor and renewal. After a while, logs of suitable size are cut. Eirik leans against a tree. He takes a deep breath. He just listens. The forest always promises serenity. The sunlight filters through the leaves, hitting his face.
Part 5. The Sword Ritual and Silent Wisdom. Eirik carries the logs back to the village. The sun has now completely emerged from the mist,
and the village is warming up. Eirik moves to the area where the swords prepared for battle are kept. This is his most personal ritual. He draws his sword from its sheath and places it across his knees. The blade forms a bright, constant line in the sunlight. But this is not a harsh light. It is a calm, soft glow.
He runs his hand along the blade. Cold metal, merging with the spring breeze, gives a peaceful feeling. The edge of the sword draws attention with its smoothness more than its sharpness. He takes an oiled cloth. He focuses on the softness of the linen cloth. The sharp smell of the oil absorbed by the cloth mixes with the cold smell of the iron. He runs the cloth over the sword, every movement slowly, every line carefully. Whoosh, whoosh. This sound is so low and soft that only he can hear it. His mind is empty. There is only the movement of his hand. The oil soaks into the pores of the metal, protecting it from moisture and rust. He also checks the texture of the leather wraps on the sword's grip. In the distance, the village's elderly sorceress, the Seidkona, sits on a small hill, speaking with the spirits of the wind and the earth. Eirik approaches her.
The smell of the herbs the woman burns mixes with the earth and spreads with the wind. This scent is an ancient smell that clears the mind. The smoke rises slowly in a spiral towards the sky. Eirik silently bows his head and sits there for a while. The woman whispers, but the words are unintelligible. This unintelligible but rhythmic whisper shuts down the thinking part of the brain, leaving only the resting part open.
The woman raises her head and smiles. "Your heart is calm. This is good," she says. Her voice is aged but clear. Calmness is the first victory of war. Eirik feels the coldness of the earth beneath him next to the woman. He closes his eyes and just breathes in the scent of the herbs and smoke. Part 6. The Golden Evening and Surrender to Sleep. As the afternoon turns to evening, the sky turns golden. As the sun sets, every corner of the village is filled with the soft, yellow, and peaceful light. Eirik descends to the riverbank. The water is clear. The water coming from the melting mountain snows flows in thin currents. Eirik dips his hand into the water. The coldness spreads through his fingers.
He closes his eyes. The sound of the water, the wind, the birds, the gentle creaking of the ships, all are like a lullaby. As the sun sets, the villagers gather in the great longhouse. On the tables are fish, steaming root vegetables, and barley porridge. Everything is simple but abundant. Mead is sipped from horns. The fire has been revived in the center. The flames reach the ceiling, creating shadows that dance on the dark wooden beams inside the room. The low, constant conversation of the people creates a light hum in the room like the buzzing of a bee. This hum is reassuring. Eirik sits across from the fire. He watches the flames. The warmth of the fire softens his face. As the fire crackles, his eyelids begin to grow heavy. That deep serenity that comes after the meal, combined with the warmth of the fire, relaxes every muscle in his body. Eirik surrenders to the softness of the furs. When he returns to his bed, night has completely fallen. The sounds of wolves are heard in the distance, but
They are not frightening, they are like a natural night sound, familiar, the cold sound of the northern night. Eirik lies down in his bed. The warmth of the animal furs immediately surrounds him. The weight of the fur is a pleasant pressure. He takes a deep breath. His breathing slows. The day's work is done. The shield is ready. The sword is ready. The mind is ready. Even though war is near, tonight there is only calm.
Tonight, there is the rhythm of nature, and sleep is slowly pulling him in. His eyes close. A heavy and peaceful silence merges with the deep darkness of the northern night. And Eirik, even in the midst of war preparations, in the peaceful embrace of spring, falls into a deep sleep, calm, heavy, and peaceful.